All right, hello everyone. Justin Stivers. Thank you guys for tuning in. Listen to another episode of the Stivers Show, man. I'm excited about my guest today, Anthony Angelillo with PMRG tag team, man. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Good. As I was saying before we started filming, I'm glad you're my guest today because I'm a little under the weather, and you're gonna bring the energy, and I'm always excited just to hear you speak because it draws me in. So this is perfect timing, man. So glad you're on. But I always like to start. Yeah, go ahead. No, what you say?
Let me introduce myself real quick.
Yeah, please.
Angelillo, branch manager over here at Paramount Residential Mortgage Group in Miami Shores, Sunshine State of Florida. CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation Marketing Company. Now it's going to be turning into a tech company, possibly. We'll see when I speak to this patent attorney on Friday. But long story short, top originator of 2020 for mortgages in Miami-Dade, Tri-County area, 1% decile in the nation for Scotsman Guide. And hopefully we're going to creep up to the 1% decile in the Scotsman Guide book on page 1, God willing. So things are great over here. I am very fortunate enough to be on this show, man. And it's been 2 years in the making. Justin's been kicking ass. So I'm ready to bring it, man.
Dude, let me ask you, why did you get into mortgages? I'm just curious. I don't know. What got you into mortgages?
Honest to God, I moved from Connecticut to Miami Beach area. And when I moved here, I got a job at Countrywide. All right. And it was from a buddy of mine in Connecticut. And Countrywide obviously put this entire industry in the dumps, right, with subprime lending. So I fell in love at that industry, man. And as soon as I went into it, it was always sales. And it was always, I had a background in IT. So, I mean, I went to school for management information systems. That's why I'm good with marketing and IT. But it was always sales, and mortgages were really, really captivated to me because at the end of the day, at Countrywide, we were targeting a lot of veterans. And we were also targeting a lot of fast track approval. They were calling it fast track easy, fast and easy. And so the veterans that were coming back from Afghanistan and serving 2 terms over there, they would come back and they would be just really not all there, God bless them. And it gave me the motivation, honest to God, to really take care of them, cater to their needs, and get them into a house, because it was like, all right, all these other people are doing subprime, 500 credit scores, no regulations. And here we are turning, veterans that are fighting for our country down. And it made me go nuts. I was like, screw this, man, this is nuts. But at the end of the day, I fell in love with the concept of the mortgages, the banking institution, the concept of home ownership. You know what I mean? That's the biggest investment anybody, and for the most part, I would say 78% of the nation right now, is in shambles, living paycheck to paycheck. But their biggest investment is going to be their mortgage, right? And so that was attractive to me. And I don't know, man, I just, ever since 2009, when things hit the fan, I thought I was going to get out, and I stayed in. And I am excited to say that I am very proud that adversity turned into some serious opportunity. And about a decade later, look at where we are right now. We've scaled, and we're massive with automation, and we're kicking ass. So, so it's crazy, man, how things happen.
It suits you, man. And one of the things I admire, and I like what you guys do, is you're, definitely running it as a business, and you're not just, out there like a lot of mortgage people. Like you get the business side of it. And I'm curious, is that intuitive? Is that learned? Like how, and obviously that's, a lot of the promotion that you do. And I think, to your credit, teach a lot of realtors as well, because that's a profession that I don't think they really generally view it as a business. It's just kind of like, hey, let me get a deal. But I know you and, Melinda, through your podcast, Damage Control, are always trying to teach realtors, take it to the next level, run it like a business. So I'm curious, is that just your constant learning? Is that intuitive? Where does that come from?
That's a good question, man. Ever since I was a kid, I started a lawn mowing company, and I have always been an entrepreneur, man. I've always thought of things to do better and better. And if I see something that's not working properly, it's just in my brain to say, look, I could do this 10 times better. Here's how. And so, yeah, I did go to business school and management information systems, minor in business administration. But all in all, it was always in me. You know what I mean? Like as a kid, we started a lawn mowing business. Pat Hanley and myself, we sent flyers all across the the community, and dude, we were cranking lawn. I mean, we had like 20 accounts in a matter of a week, and a lot of the individuals were like, you can't cut these kids are, what are they, 10, 9 years old? Like, what are they? They're not going to be able to do this. Connecticut, there's some acreage, right? 5 acres, 10 acres. And we did it, and we marketed the hell out of that community, and we were making some damn good money. And I was buying my Nintendo games back then, and ever since that, it was just in me to market, advertise, and that's where I really learned it. But a lot of intuition. They always say you don't stop learning after college, and those that do stop learning after college, they do not succeed. So I'm constantly reading articles. I'm not a big reader. I do read, but I retain information better through audio. I've always loved audio. That's why video content for me is so easy. I can listen, I can retain. That's the way I learn. So that's what we do, is we do a lot of video content, because you don't know how someone's going to retain that information. A text message can be taken out of context. Emails, 26% of people are even reading them anymore. Video is really easier for body language, tonality, personality, looks, everything. So it's just knowing that data, studying it, and continuously working at your craft. You know what I mean? You have to be a master at your craft. 2 years, you just said prior to us recorded, you've been doing this 2 years. So that's consistent. All right. And that is, people don't do that. People would opt out within a month or two. COVID's done. Why do I need to do this crap anymore? And then you said you want to make more innovative moves in terms of, shifting this show. That's awesome. Now you're understanding, okay, look, how do we scale from here? Sure as shit. Okay. We might not be Joe Rogan, but you probably might get, another 100 subscribers to view if you do it this way. So it's just taking that data. We had this meeting this morning, my marketing team and I, and I'll end with this. The data that we're receiving right now, it's priceless. And what I am generating that I really can't talk about is going to give us a lot of access of data, like tons of in my industry. So I'm going to take all that data and see, organizing that data and understanding the data is the name of the game moving into our sector. It's not going out and knocking on doors and seeing if something sticks. The more data that I can extract from third-party individuals, the more likely I'm going to succeed, because now I have a shotgun approach on 100 people versus 10 people. And it's easier way of working rather than trying to take someone to the finish line and you only have that one transaction. And if that hits the fan, then obviously you're not going to close. So we're all about automation over here, and data, and taking the data and repurposing content through marketing material by target marketing geographically in the areas that household median income is going to support inventory. So really breaking it down. Not just saying I'm going to farm Miami over here, but okay, Miami Shores, you're not buying anything unless you're a doctor or a lawyer. And even there, if there's too much student loan debt, they're not buying anything either. So it's very difficult to get anyone into a house, but you need to see that, and you have to study it and understand it. But to answer your question, yeah, I've always been an entrepreneur, man, and I'm always adapting. These guys, they laugh at me because I'm adapting on a weekly basis, man. And they're like, can we just stick with this for a month? Okay, we will. 3 months, a month. But if it's not working, we need to tweak it. We just generated a funnel. The funnel had a 66%, not a closure rate, but it was an opt-out rate. So they were opting out prior to even taking the funnel. I tweaked the video, one little sentence brought it down to 33%. So it's like, it's understanding that analytics. And if you can find that recipe, it's game over. How do you think these people are stars on IG? They find that recipe out, taking that. So in your case with this show, not necessarily ending the show. No, you want to adapt in the situation. What is the analytics of the show? Who's your followers? Why are they not reading the content, or what are they reading? It's taking that type of stuff and really analyzing it, and then striking where the weaknesses are right now in the industry. And I think in our industry, and I'll end with that, is the data that's coming in. The problem with a lot of these agents, you're right, they're not entrepreneurs. Some are. And same with loan officers, not to undermine anyone here, but they're not reading the data properly, and the data that's coming in is not clean data. The old saying's clean data in, clean data out. It's a mess. So the data coming in, it's not a qualified buyer. So we're spending our time on someone that doesn't necessarily qualify. So why aren't we taking the 7 minutes to figure out if that individual qualifies? No one's doing that. No one's doing that. So
yeah. Well, I want to, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, long answer. And I know we could go into the marketing and the systems, and I mean, because that's definitely the stuff that I love. But we were kind of talking before, and I think people obviously here in South Florida, I mean, really in general, but definitely here in South Florida and Miami, market's crazy. People want to buy, can't buy. And one of the things that we were talking about, because I know a lot of people who watch this are in that professional space, maybe attorneys, maybe doctors, maybe CPAs, advisors, and whatnot. And something that you mentioned that I hadn't really thought about is, or maybe a lot of people think is like, okay, when I'm ready to buy a house, then I'll go get pre-qualified and then I go find a house. But you're saying it's not as easy as that. It takes a little bit of planning to actually get to that point.
So what we have in the making is something that will talk to everybody, including attorneys and everyone else. So the reality is this: when you talk to a consumer, a borrower, and you're trying to guide them to get approved for a mortgage, a lot of them opt out and they say, look, we're going to wait. Okay. And when I look at that, I'm like, okay, we're going to wait. Why are we waiting? Like, that's the next question. What's the reason of waiting? There shouldn't be that mindset. Like, if God forbid you're diagnosed with a terminal disease, you're not waiting. You know what I mean? You're where the hell's the doctor? Where's the nearest hospital? Where's the specialist? What do I need to do so I don't die? Right. So that mentality needs to be in the business sector, and especially as a consumer. And it's not when they're shopping for a home. There is fear, there's upbringing, there is a lot of the keeping up with the Joneses that, all right, we're not as good as them, we're not going to buy the Taj Mahal, we can't afford it. So they opt out. And my whole thought process is, okay, to each their own. Every loan is like a snowflake. It's going to be different. Obviously, it's like a fingerprint. But if there is a CPA and we have a self-employed individual, and the gentleman is, trying to beat tax code 101 over here by writing everything off, there's nothing illegal about that. Okay, that's why we wrote tax code. But we can't steer. That's the legal word, per respa. You can't really steer someone to say, hey, you got to do this. You're not mandated to use any financial services or title company. But nobody says you can't talk to the CPA. You can't. Why not make a conversation with the CPA and say, hey, look, this is what you can do to prep yourself for a 2-year work history, or this is where you could be potentially in the next year if you don't write XYZ off. That's a gray area, right? That's the CFPB would be all over that, right? So, but we're not educated, we're not certified public accountants, but it's simply picking up the phone to talk to the CPA and just collaborate it. And see, nobody's thought of that. Everyone is just in their own world. And God forbid they step out of the sandbox because they think that the feds are going to come and put them to jail. Nobody's making that type of call. So I'm just saying, simply suggestion, look, why don't we take a more proactive approach? It's called an abundant mindset, but rather than a fixed mindset, right? I'm fixed in my own ways. It's my way, the highway. And really collaborating as a team and saying, hey, look, Justin, this property's in probate. Should I just say the hell with it? No, you're going to have a conversation about what are the legal ramifications if I do this or if I do that. So it's just taking that approach. And I think a lot of the agents, and especially loan officers, but I would say a lot of the agents, they don't ask the right questions up front, or they don't know how to ask the right questions, or it's a rookie entering the sector, or even a veteran. The questions are not addressed up front properly, especially like with marital status, no legal separation in the state of Florida. You can't buy a house. There's no way you're going to, sign title if the spouse is not signing, unless it's a second home or an investment home. But that being said, no one has 10% or 15 or 25% if they're going through a nasty divorce. So it's just educating the consumer, the borrower. But how do you do that if the first point of contact is the real estate agent? Okay, that's the tricky thing. Is we know the law. We have a mortgage broker license. They have a license. They should know some of the laws. But most of the agents don't. And some of the loan officers don't even ask the right questions either, especially if you're a US citizen or whatnot. They'll skip those declarations page just to fast forward for rendering a decision sooner. I am simply saying that I think if we can slow down and the data that is coming in could be streamlined, which is in the making, then that data is now going to be scrubbed. And if I have clean data and I score it to a 10 saying that's going to be the best type of lead there is, or borrower, then now I know what I need to do to direct that borrower so that they're not in harm's way, but they understand, look, I can get a house and here's how. I dreamt about what I am doing for, I would say I dreamed about this for almost 6 years. Yeah, about 6 years. I was told that I was batshit crazy, that you can't automate a federal regulated business. I'm not batshit crazy anymore. It's being automated. I was told that there's no way that you can ask those questions. You're going to get arrested. Bullshit. RESPA attorney says it's okay. So there's a lot of stigma, and there's a lot of things in the industry that people don't, or they're afraid to ask. And that is simply the borrower themselves not knowing, or they're not informed properly, or there's someone that has a license really doesn't know what they're really doing. It's almost like having a brain surgeon not have any medical practice. Great. That's not going to help you. You want the one that is really skilled and that's been seasoned in the business. So all I'm saying is that if there's a time that I need to guide somebody through turmoil because they're going through a nasty divorce, and the spouse is self-employed and I got to go speak to the CPA, I will get on the phone with that person, and I'll not necessarily guide them because I don't have, I'm not a public accountant, but I will make sure that the job gets done. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's the way we should, attack the consumers in this business, because I think there's a lot of leads that we're missing, unfortunately, Justin,
Yeah. So because I know we're kind of come up on our time, but I know people are probably interested in, and you're seeing it because we talked a little bit before, is that so many people qualified, no houses. What the heck happens? What's going on? What can people do? What people want to buy but can't buy? You got the answer? You got the secret?
So all right. And I won't make this an hour answer. So bottom line, what I'm seeing is this. This is what I can't figure out. And when I can't figure something out, it drives me nuts. There's not too much inventory. They said there's 33,000 people that entered South Florida, mainly from California and New York. There's just not enough inventory at this point. That's another reason why if someone's waiting, that's good information to give to them, saying, hey, look, you wait, you're not going to live in South Florida. You're going to be in North Dakota at that point. So it's simple supply and demand, and the inventory is just not there. Their plywood's gone up through the roof. The builders right now are at a 3-year waiting list. People are migrating because COVID's allowed them to move remote. What are we doing to be proactive in that situation? We are underwriting files up front prior to contract. See, this is my point of being proactive. If we have a consumer, we have 3 tiers. We'll tell them, look, this is a complex scenario. It's going to take you 3 weeks. We don't have 3 weeks. We got to place a bid now. You're not going to place a bid, especially if you have financing going on, if you are FHA. If I am a seller, why am I going to even look at that? I'm going to look at cash. I'm going to look at conventional. I'm going to look at VA. Then I'm going to look at FHA. That's, if I have a half a brain, that's the totem pole, right? So cash is king. Conventional 20% down is definitely going to win over any FHA or VA. Why is that? They're primarily for low, moderate income buyers. All right. So if I'm seller's agent, that's an issue. I'm now saying to myself, well, does this person qualify? Why can't they go conventional? We are underwriting the file up front. The reason for that, subject to property, so it's called a TBD, to be determined on subject property. We now clear all of the conditions. And so we have that commitment period, it's done. So there's no contingency. So when I go in and I call the listing agent and I say, hey, listen, we have no contingency. We're waiving the appraisal. Okay. So they're gonna pay, even if it doesn't hit, they'll pay 20 grand, 10 grand over asking price. We have no loan commitment period. So the money's hard because it's guaranteed that this is closing unless the inspection goes sour or title comes back, not clean. And the chances now have gone from 50% to maybe 75. Now we're seeing people waiving inspections, which is just nuts. Now you're not doing your fiduciary duty at that point, if you really want my humble opinion. But that is going to win you over as opposed to we're going to go get pre-approved. I'm going to have some Excel spreadsheet and I'm going to hope that I am going to hire somebody who I haven't met. It's like hiring somebody with a resume without interviewing them. That's my thought process if I'm a seller. So it is the delivery approach. That's what you need to really think about in this business. If you're in a seller's market, what is going to make your deal stand out the most? Underwritten up front, being proactive by getting pre-approved weeks ahead of time, months ahead of time. Your lease is due in 6 months, do it now. Do it now. So that way you have that vision board, that goal in front of you, that mindset, the amount of money you're going to need to physically save up for. That's what you need. You need those tools, those resources. And now you go in guns blazing, when you have that commitment, because that gives us time to render a decision, loan commitment. You're definitely going to need a good buyer's agent representing you, someone that knows how to negotiate and that's aggressive. And those clauses, there's a lot of title attorneys. Melinda's one of them that could rephrase a lot of them by simply writing them to protect the buyer's agent, but also reinforcing it so that if anything goes wrong, they're not going to lose their money entirely. It's difficult, man. I'm not going to say it's easy. I was just telling you, we have 52 people that are pre-approved. We should have record-breaking months, and we're not, simply because, like I said, the gal that works for me, who's in the other room, just brought me my lunch, and she was so happy. 22 times later. 22 offers later, and we're finally under contract. So, that's 22 times more likely for you to work your ass off to try to get someone into a house. So there's proof of concept right there. That's the data. It's just difficult. And that's not just South Florida, man. That's Texas, that's California, that's everywhere. Everyone now is migrating to no state income tax and warmer climates.
That's crazy. It's crazy, man. So, well, I think, one of the big takeaways here, though, that I hear, obviously you guys know what you're doing, but if someone's looking, it's not wait and see. It's now you got to be proactive. You got to start. So with that, how do people find you, get in contact with you? What's kind of your process? So after this, people can find you and kind of start everything.
Go to my Instagram page, Anthony J. Angelillo, Angelillo, Angel, ILLO, guys. Go to my Linktree account, and there's a whole entire, I'd say about 10 links on there. I'm a big IT guy, so the link will take you to a forum to fill out your roadmap to home ownership and to give you a reference point. I am a firm believer that you need a business plan before you go into business, and you're not going to follow that plan. I promise you that. I've changed my plan probably 200 times, but at the end of the day, I've stuck with the foundation of what I wanted, and I'm here today. And that's the best way to approach us. But I definitely think a proactive approach is important because you need to know where you're going. I wanted to live in a high rise on the water. It took me about 8 years to meet that. And I had a little piece of paper that I printed out and I put it on my desk, and it was my vision board. It was my focal point. And I looked at that damn thing every single day and it motivated me. So what I would highly recommend is to get numbers from your lender. It doesn't have to be us, it can be anybody. And make sure they're providing a roadmap that's, going to give you your pain points like a test. You want to know what you need improvement on, but you also need the vision to say, all right, honey, this is our goal. This is what we need to do. Let's start a savings account. It's going to take us a year. We got to speak to the CPA. We have to write less money off on Uncle Sam taxes here. I mean, there's a way to get a house. Everyone can buy a house. You just need to take that proactive approach, and they have to have that mindset, that abundant mindset, not the fixed mindset. So
awesome, man. Awesome. Well, brother, glad we got to make this work, and I appreciate it, man. I'm sure a lot of people will find this valuable and hopefully be reaching out and get you some more contracts over there, man.
And hopefully we can put them under
and
contract.
hopefully close. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, man. Take care.